And welcome back. Well, we know that kids are like sponges. They soak up everything, all that new information from their environment. And studies show that early exposure to reading will improve a child's grades later on in school. Rebecca Michelsen is here from Penfield Children's Center to make reading fun for even the littlest ones. And it's so, so very important. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is a New Year's resolution every parent and grandparent needs to incorporate is reading more for their children.
Right, and so we just want to, and it doesn't have to be hard, it can be simple. Just incorporating little bits here and there can make it fun and make it exciting for kids.
Well, let's first talk about right now, because people are traveling a lot. How can you still incorporate reading? Because a lot of times on travel, it's easy just to give them the iPad and say, here you go, you know, entertain yourself.
Right, right. So we can incorporate it into our travel by playing games. So depending on if you're traveling by car, you can say, okay, we're going to play the alphabet game. Who can find the letter A? Who can find the letter B? And it involves reading signs, reading license plates. So that's one way
And
we
that
can
counts as
incorporate
reading.
And that counts as reading.
Love
we
that.
can incorporate it by bringing books along. So just packing some of our favorite books. The other thing is maybe listening to books instead. So we can put them on tape or CD and as a family listen to them together in the car.
Yeah, one of the favorite series that my fiance's son loves is The Magic Tree House. And he loves it. He'd always be like, can we listen to the next Magic Tree House? So that's a great one to listen to in the car or read on the iPad instead of play games, different things like that. This is one, so one way to incorporate small little portions each day is that you don't have to overwhelm yourself with thinking about reading an entire book. You can read a chapter,
You can read a chapter, or you can even start a book and finish it later. All kids' attention spans are different for what they want to read and how long they want to read. So if they're sitting with you and they're reading and after 3 pages they hop up and they decide they want to go play with something.
That's okay?
That's okay.
Okay.
Say, okay, we'll come back to this later.
Give permission. I like that.
Yeah.
And then giving them as gifts too throughout the entire year, not just at Christmas, but Christmas as well.
Right. So it's always good to incorporate reading into those gifts. So including a book with, you know, a Christmas present or a birthday present is always something that we can include. And you can find out like what some of their favorite books are and watch for maybe new books that are coming out to add to that list for them.
Another thing schools are great about and libraries is those reading programs. They really incentivize kids.
Yes. So there's lots of different programs out there. Libraries have them during the summer. The schools have them. I know for my son's school they do one where you can earn tickets to Six Flags Great America, those types of things. And so it's you read a certain number of books or you read for so many minutes and you get a prize at the end.
Love that. And I think it's so great. Rewards them for doing really great things for themselves. Because I was asking you, there's this old saying, you know, it's like 10,000 by 5. Those are the amount of words that they need to know. Just by like 5 or 4 years old, it's so important for them to have that many words in their vocabulary or they'll be behind in the future.
Right. And by reading books with them is a great way to introduce them to the new vocabulary that they need to build.
Well, let's break down some specifics about how to read to your kids. I think this is great, and these are different ways that you can learn to read better to your kids. I like the one where you said kind of give them permission to get up after a little bit, and that's also knowing when to stop. That's important.
It's knowing when you're catching their attention span and when you're losing their attention span, because each child is different, and so you have to kind of pay attention to when does it start getting frustrating for them, because we don't want to turn them off of reading when it starts getting frustrating. So we want to make sure that they're still engaged and that they're having fun with it.
Do you have to read every word in the book?
Oh, no.
No?
You definitely don't have to read every word in the book.
Can you make up some of your own words?
You can make up some of your own words when the kids are younger. I know for my son, one of his favorites was Dumbo when he was younger, and it was a really long book, but because we had seen the movie enough, we just talked through the pictures.
Yeah.
And so we didn't read it word for word. We just talked through what was happening, and that worked for him.
Them picking the book and then you reading it with expression really makes a difference as well.
Right. If you think about it, who are the characters they're looking to? They love those expressive characters. Yes. So using voices, expressive faces, those are all things that they're going to enjoy about reading. Asking them even how they want to read it. They might want to sing it like a song. They might want to act it out while you're reading it. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be let's just sit, you know, next to each other in a chair and read it. They might want to act it out as you're reading what's happening in that book.
That's cute. I love those ideas. Well, you brought a great example of age-appropriate material, because there's different ways for you to be able to tell if it's age-appropriate. But let's kind of break down what you did, because starting over here on my left, This is for the youngest all the way up to some of the oldest, maybe 12-year-old readers.
Yep, definitely. So the very first one there is a board book, and it's just very simple, large pictures, 1 word per page. These are for our babies or our infants. We want them to have sturdy books because, again, they're going to use them more than just reading. So we want something that's a little bit sturdy. As we get into more of our toddler preschool years, we're going to start doing some more books about humor. We're also going to start teaching them about diversity because they're going to start realizing that people are different than them. So this is where we can share a little bit about we all have differences, and that's okay.
That's good.
We also start noticing that as they get a little bit older and closer to that preschool kindergarten age, they start showing more interest in some nonfiction books. So this is where we can bring in the books about dinosaurs or trucks or things like that.
Trains, you know, it's the dinosaur trains, trucks era that they get obsessed with, right?
Definitely. Then as we start getting to that kindergarten age, we can move on to books that actually have a symbol up in the corner that's safe for an early reader.
Oh, so up here.
Yep. So those are the books that they can either start reading by themselves or can still read with you. So it starts introducing some of those common words that they recognize.
And you use the 5-finger rule. What does that mean?
So the 5-finger rule is they're going to open the book to any page and they're going to start reading. And you're going to hold up a finger for every word that they don't know. If it's 0 to 1, the book is too easy. If it's 4 to 5, it's too hard. 2 to 3 words.
So it's how many words they don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So 0 to 1, it's too easy. 4 to 5, it's too hard. Right in the middle is the perfect book for them at their age.
Exactly.
That is a great way to do it because I've often found, you know, I'll find a book that I think is age appropriate by the topic or whatnot, but they lose interest. And sometimes it's just a matter of how many words are on the page.
Right.
You know, I find that being an issue too. It's like the quicker you can go through a book, that is more appealing as well, especially for young boys sometimes. Right,
or as you start getting to the older age, they start getting away from the books with the pictures, and suddenly that becomes very intimidating too. It's like, well, wait, there's no pictures on the page, it's all words, and that's not as fun to read.
Yeah, and this is in the Captain America series, or Captain Underpants.
Captain Underpants.
And we've had him on the show, and this is Dogman. This is a big hit with some of the older boys.
Yes, it is, because it's simple, it's a fast read, but yet there's pictures to go along with it, it's a funny story, and it keeps their interest.
I love that. You guys work hand in hand with Kohl's Building Blocks as well. How does that work at Penfield?
So with our Kohl's Building Blocks program, it actually allows us to provide all of our families with an age-appropriate toy and an age-appropriate book. So they're getting a book that they get to keep at home, and again, it's age-appropriate, so depending on where they are in that spectrum of learning to read, we're able to leave that with them. They're also able to come in-center and get books from our child development library, again, that they can take home, they can borrow from us and read with their children and then bring back for different books.
And who specifically are you serving when you talk about the kids that you're sending these books home with?
We are serving children primarily in the ages of birth to age 6 within the Milwaukee County area. A lot of our families have either a disability or a developmental delay, and that's why we're going into the home and providing these services to them, is because we're providing therapy services.
It's great. What you guys do is so fantastic. I've been out to your center, and it's a wonderful thing. So if you can support Penfields, please do so. If you need to get involved, here's some information for Penfields. It's penfieldbuildingblocks.org. You can learn more about them, their partnership with Kohl's Building Blocks as well through that website. Thanks for being here,
Thank
Rebecca.
you.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year.